Hello everybody and welcome back to another How Would I Judge a Drag Race season video. Today we are going to be doing How Would I Judge a Drag Race UK season 4. I just finished watching the finale of the season about 20 minutes ago, so now it is time to record it. So this season was just such a great season overall. I really loved it. I love all of these contestants and I'm very happy with the winner. So yeah, let us just get right into it. The rules to remember, as always, are the season has to be as long as season 4 originally was, which was 10 episodes, 9 competitive episodes, and then the finale. And the performances and the challenges need to be based off of how well someone did or how people would predict they would do. So just because somebody was in the top and I want to, like if somebody was in the top, I'm not going to put them in the bottom and vice versa, unless there is like overwhelming fan support for that being the case. The goal is to act as if I'm the head judge of the season and craft the season I can imagine, make it as fun and eventful as possible, while also being fair with my judging of the season by combining my own personal tastes and what was shown to us on the show. So yeah, let's get right into episode 1. Alrighty, so starting off episode 1, we have the BBC anniversary, fashion challenge where they have to present a runway look. One that's based off their own style, and one that is celebrating the anniversary of the BBC. So I actually kept all of the original placements from this episode. I thought this episode was judged pretty fairly. There is some controversy potentially with Black Peppa taking the win here. Black Peppa's outfits, I think, were definitely the best as a whole, but there is a little snafu in that her headpiece fell off on her second outfit. And I have mentioned in a video before, specifically the Drag Race Down Under Season 2, How Would I Judge video. In the first episode, I did not give Yuri Guai the win. Because she cannot walk in her outfit. So if we're keeping up with kind of my standard set that I've established prior, if I did not give Yuri Guai the win based off of that, then I should probably not give Black Peppa the win. But I actually just am going to keep giving Black Peppa the win because I think her outfits were both just so perfectly good, and I think it's different not being able to walk in your outfit because it wasn't, you made it and you didn't consider how well you could walk in it versus you just didn't pin in the headpiece well enough and it fell. There's a difference there. One is you should have recognized that and you should have adapted to it. The other one is I'm not gonna take away your win because of a bobby pin, you know? So Black Peppa is gonna keep winning. Sminty Drop and Starlight are gonna place high. Baby, Cheddar Gorgeous, Danny Beard, Jesus by voice, John vs. Blonde, LaPhil, and Pixie Polite are all gonna be safe. Copper Top is gonna be low, and the bottom two are gonna be Dakota Schiffer and Just May. And they are going to be lip syncing to Let Them Know by Mabel. Dakota Schiffer does a really good job in this lip sync and is going to stay. And sorry to Just May, but we are going to see her sashay away. Oh my god, look at me rhyming. I'm like a rapstress or something. Yeah, let's move on to episode 2. Episode 2, we have the Yostonbury challenge. It's the girl group challenge of the season. I am not a fan that this challenge was done this early. It just doesn't make sense to me, and I would have loved to change around the challenge order, but there was not an easy way to do that, so I just kept it the same. Considering that Just May was also the same person to go and literally all the placements were the same, that means all of the teams are going to be exactly the same. And Queens of the Bone Age, as a group, as a whole, definitely do better. While if we were just basing off of pure who did the best solo, I would say Baby should win the challenge. That's not how this works. This is girl groups, they're going to be judged in groups. So Queens of the Bone Age is going to win, and Dakota Schiffer is going to be the sole winner here. I think there's really two ways I feel like you can do girl groups. You can either give them all the win or give one person the win and everybody else places high in the group. I decided to do the latter just because I don't like the thought of giving out 6 wins. It just doesn't seem right. 4 is the max. That's the max wins I can understand giving out in an episode. If you're doing 4 and 4 girl group teams, you shouldn't, like 6 people, that's just too many to be giving wins to, in my opinion. So I decided to give it to who I thought did the best in the group and was also the team captain, who is Dakota Schiffer. I could understand the win also potentially being given to like Danny Beard. I really like Danny's performance in this challenge as well. Danny was probably my second favorite out of the group. But we're just going to stick with what I decided. Dakota's going to win. Cheddar Gorgeous, Copper Top, Danny Beard, LaPhil, and Pixie Polite are all going to place high. In the bottom group, Black Peppa and Baby do the best. They're going to play safe. The bottom three I decided to keep the same as they were originally. I was considering kind of wavering on maybe should I put Sminty in the bottom two, but I ultimately decided against it because I just thought, from what we saw on television, she had the least mess ups out of the three. So the bottom two are going to be John vs. Blonde and Starlet, and they are going to be lip syncing to About You Now by the Sugar Babes. And John Burrs does a pretty good job with this lip sync. But those Starlets fucking dip like out of nowhere is like the most. It might be the most iconic moment from any lip sync in this season, for me at least, because she just does it so out of nowhere, and it's just I love it. It's pure, it's high camp is what it is to me. But John Burrs does better, and Starlet will go home here, and we're going to move on to episode 3. Alrighty, episode 3 is the design challenge with the bingo theme situation. Yeah, it was really weird, kind of contrived, but whatever. So since this challenge was done in pairs, it is going to be judged in pairs. And we're not just going to throw Copper Top in the bottom just because. So the winning team is going to be Baby and Dakota Schiffer, obviously, because they did a really great job in this challenge. Their black outfits with the flowers were just oh so good. I loved them. Sminty Drop and LaPhil are going to place high. I kind of thought their outfits were a little bit overhyped. I do think they were the second best outfits for sure. But I saw people saying online that they should have won over Baby and Dakota, and in my brain, like, no way should they have won. I do not see that at all, personally. But everybody's got their own fashion tastes and opinions and stuff. I ended up putting Cheddar and Copper as safe. I was really wishy-washy on whether to put them as safe or them as low, switching Danny Beard and Pixie Polite in their place. I wasn't sure. I ended up putting it that way because I felt like there was a more kind of cohesive concept between Cheddars and Coppers in that they were different looks, but like you could see how they tied together, whereas it felt like Danny's and Pixie's were like the same look. Danny and Pixie, they did not do bad in this challenge. Their looks were just kind of boring, and that was kind of warned to them, like, hey, don't go like too basic with your silhouettes, and they went pretty basic with their silhouettes, but thankfully for them, it was definitely better than Black Peppa and John vs. Blonde's outfits. I was not a fan of their outfits at all. I do understand what they were like doing and going from and like trying to create, but they just did not have the time to execute it. And I think the judging this episode originally was so weird because like if you're basing it off of pure outfits, even then I don't think Coppers would be in the bottom. I think you would certainly put Copper as the low placement if you're judging it all individually, but I still think Black Peppa and John vs. Blonde should have been the bottom too, even if you're judging them individually. It just definitely felt like, here's an excuse to take out Copper Top, a contestant who we haven't cared about, which is sad because I really like Copper Top. I love her personality, and if she had the ability to go farther in Drag Race, she would have gone a lot farther, I feel, and we're going to see that happen in this video. So Black Peppa and John vs. Blonde are going to lip sync to This Is Real by Ella Henderson. And we have 2 of the final 4 lip syncing here in episode 3, and John Burrs is going to go home because I do think Black Peppa would do better. And at this point, she had won a challenge where this is John Burrs' second time in the bottom 2 in a row. So John Burrs is going to go here. A contestant who made the finale leaving already. Shocking. So let's see what happens in episode 4. Episode 4 is the improv challenge. The Caddy Man is what it's called. We have Copper Top in John Burrs' place. And I think Copper would probably be safe here. She could be high. I could see that. I just think the top three all did so good that it would be hard to crack it, but she is a comedy queen. Like, that's her thing. She's a camp comedy gal. So I would expect that she would do well in this challenge. And so she could be high. I don't think she'd win against Danny. I think Danny pretty solidly had the win on lock here. But I ended up putting her safe just because I wasn't confident enough to put her as high. Danny Beard is gonna win as she did originally because she fucking killed it. I just the whole like getting around on the floor, being the cat, and just all the gags were so good. Cheddar and Pixie are going to be high because they both slayed this challenge as well. Black Peppa and Dakota Schiffer also did pretty solidly all right in this challenge, so they're going to be safe as they were originally. LaPhil is going to place low as they did originally. LaPhil, um, I think could have been in the bottom two, honestly. I don't know who I would have put them in the bottom two over. It with no, thinking about it for a second, it would have been Baby. But I do think LaPhil's runway was pretty cool. So Baby and Sminty Drop are going to be the bottom two. And they are going to lip sync to Respectable by Mel and Kim, and Baby destroys this. She does such a good job. And sadly, we have to say goodbye to Sminty, who was so cool. And after seeing her online talk and everything, and like being on Twitter, I'm just like, okay, Sminty's an awesome fucking drag queen. I love Sminty. So let us move on to episode 5. Episode 5, we have the Larry Poppins Rusical, and we have Copper Top here instead of John Blonde again. Now, who would Copper get in this situation? It would be weird because currently at this point you get the Bird Lady. But I think if this was changed around, I think the roles would ended up being shifted for sure. I don't know what they would be, but I do think they'd be shifted and be different. I do think if Copper does get the Bird Lady, she's probably safe. But I just don't know how good Copper does in like a big choreo challenge like this because we did see Copper do the girl groups challenge, which she did pretty solid in. Like, I mean, if I were to rank each person doing that challenge individually, I'd probably put Copper like 6th or 7th out of the 11, like pretty solidly safe, I would say. Like, I don't think she was the worst on her team, and there's 3 people on the other team that did worse than her. Um, but I'm not sure how Copper would do here. I think she could be I think she could be safe. I think she could be low. I think she could be bottom 2. I don't know what she would be. But I did keep Danny Beard as the winner of this challenge because Danny did a stellar job. It did not miss a beat. Did so good. And I also kept Pixie Polite in the top because Pixie also did not miss a beat in this challenge, but Danny was just a bit more lively of a character to watch. Um, Cheddar Gorgeous was originally in the top for this challenge. I decided to switch it, and I gave the top to Black Peppa because if we're keeping the same situation that Black Peppa and Dakota Schiffer were the like children, I think Black Peppa did a stellar job, and to me, Black Peppa definitely outshined Dakota in the role. So maybe while she might have potentially have been like as technically good as Cheddar, I think Black Peppa was more of a standout to me. Like the 3 roles that Danny, Black Peppa, and Pixie had are the 3 ones that I remember personally from the challenge. So that's why I put Black Peppa as high. Cheddar's gonna be safe. She was originally high, but she still did a great job. And LaPhil is going to be safe. They were originally low. I don't see it, especially adding Copper in. I do think Copper would probably be in the bottom. I really don't know. There's so many different placements. This might be too harsh on Copper. But regardless, in this situation, LaPhil is safe. And I'm just going to say, if you want to put Copper as low or safe, you can do whatever you want, folks. I just wasn't sure where to put Copper. And I think with a very heavy singing and choreo challenge, I just think that Copper might end up fading into the background or stumbling potentially. Dakota is going to place low here, was originally in the bottom 2, is now going to place low. Did a pretty solid job in the challenge, but this challenge was just so strong that it just ended up being that Dakota was originally in the bottom, is now going to place low. And here the bottom two are going to be Copper Top and Baby, and they're going to lip sync to No Way from Six the Musical. And because not enough has shifted in this timeline, I do think Baby would still want to quit here. Um, I would love for this to have been like there's like a top four and the top two lip sync and we get a winner. But knowing that Baby is wanting to quit the competition, I think like if I was the judge, I would let her have the opportunity to do so in a way that like feels, where she can just kind of gracefully bow out, like how it was kind of done like on the actual show. So yeah, that's kind of it. Let's move on to episode 6. Episode 6, we have the Snatch Game Challenge. And I think this is kind of the episode where Copper Top really gets a chance to shine here. Because we know, I don't know what Copper Top would have done for the Snatch Game, what characters, but I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that Copper Top would have done an amazing job during the Snatch Game and could have potentially even won it. I was very close to giving Copper the win here, but I ended up not doing it just because I thought that Cheddar's Queen Elizabeth was kind of foolproof enough. And I think with the personalities on board, I think if Copper did a similar kind of character to like Scylla that Danny did, I feel like it kind of would have been just like it kind of would be seen as like Danny's, but like a little bit better. It kind of would have been similar vibes. So I just think with the characters that Copper would have chose, that she probably wouldn't have stood out exactly enough to potentially get the win, but she would definitely be high without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. Um, so Cheddar Gorgeous is still going to win. Copper Top is going to place high. Originally, Dakota was safe along with Danny. Now we're placing Dakota as high because that is what she deserved. Her Pete Burns was impeccable. It was so good. I loved it. I do think they kept them both safe originally because they didn't want to have one person in Untucked. But that doesn't really make sense to me because they've done that before at some point. I don't think it was on Drag Race UK, but there's been an episode of a Drag Race franchise where they've had one person in Untucked. And also, like, if I trust anybody to be one person in Untucked, then like it's Danny. Like I trust Danny to carry like the show. Like I have no doubts in my mind that you could just sit her in that room and she would spitball about whatever. And even if you didn't want to do that, just leave them all on stage. There's only one extra person. I don't get it. But yeah, Danny's safe. Pixie Polite is low, as was originally. And the bottom two are going to be Black Peppa and LaPhil, and they're going to lip sync to Stop by the Spice Girls. And Black Peppa's going to win this for me. I do think LaPhil started out stronger, but I thought there were too many props. There's too much for me. And I do think Black Peppa kind of like served the overall performance of it better. So LaPhil is going to go home here, but I need to take a second to sing my praises to LaPhil because I love them so much. I love that LaPhil is a drag artist that does like, kind of like androgynous, leaning feminine kind of drag, but uses he, they pronouns and is such like a fucking boss and uses he, they pronouns in drag and out of drag. I love that. I love LaPhil so much, and I don't think LaPhil was robbed. I did see some like discourse online that like LaPhil was like treated very poorly on the season and to the placements, but I personally didn't think so. It was really just the Larry Poppins one that I felt was kind of like shitty. Where it's like, LaPhil should have been safe. Even in the original episode, I think LaPhil should have been safe. I actually don't know who I would have put in the bottom there. Who would I'm struggling in my brain to think of who it would have been. There's an obvious person I'm just not thinking of. What am I doing? Who am I? Look at know what's going on here. But yeah, regardless. LaPhil is a pop star, and will always be so. I love LaPhil. So let's move on to episode 7. Episode 7 is the Makeover Challenge, and I think this is actually a pretty good time to talk about the storylines of the season, because really the only major change from this season, from where it was originally, is that Jomber's Blonde goes super early, and we kind of have Copper fill in the spot for a while. So I think a lot of different storylines are the same. I do think we still have the relationships between Danny and Cheddar. I do still think we have, the relationships between Danny and Pixie. I do still think we kind of get, we get to learn the same things about Black Peppa and Dakota Schiffer, but I think the big major difference is we get a whole new storyline with Copper Top, in which we kind of see, like, we start off the season where people underestimate Copper constantly, and then we kind of see her get her like shining glory moment in the Snatch game. And then she goes home, sadly, the next episode. But I do think we actually get like a decently good focus on Copper, where Copper is just not seen as a threat by the people, and she's like, "Why don't you see me as why don't you see me as competition?" Kind of almost filling in what Jombers had, where Jombers, didn't feel like she was being seen as like a true competitor enough. But and in this scenario, Copper's going to get more of a pronounced shining moment and do great in the Snatch game, and kind of like prove to the people that like she can excel in the Drag Race format. Um, Episode 7 is the makeover. Sadly, based off of other design challenge performances, I do not think Copper would do well. I think Copper would be in the bottom two with Pixie. But Cheddar Gorgeous would win as originally. Danny is going to be high as originally. Dakota was in the bottom two for this challenge. I went home, but I do not see that. Dakota's look was so good. I love the mix between like the peach and the checker pattern. I thought it was so great. It was like I loved it. Um, it was, yeah, Dakota should have been safe. And Black Peppa, I think, should have been low. As I think Black Peppa actually was technically a low originally, but Black Peppa's going to stay low. Um, Not J Lo, stay low. That wasn't even a joke. I don't even know. And Pixie Polite and Copper Top are going to be in the bottom two. And they're going to be lip syncing to "Miss Me Blind" by the Culture Club, and I do think Pixie would do a better job in this lip sync. I don't really this lip sync song isn't that great to me. It's kind of like whatever. But I do think Pixie would probably do better, and this is also Pixie's first time in the bottom two and Copper's second. And we kind of had earlier in the season in this scenario we would have had Copper almost like de facto winning the first lip sync that she participated in over Baby, because Baby decided to quit, even though Baby most likely would have done better in the lip sync, just like based off of what we know. But yeah, that's going to be it. We're going to move on to episode 8. Now, originally we had Copper Top replacing Jombers. Now it is going to be Dakota Schiffer replacing Jombers. And this challenge, we have the Squirrel Games challenge. And this was a weird ass episode. It really kind of falls in line with all of the other like late season acting challenges in Drag Race UK, where it's really hard to decipher who did well and who did bad, because the roles are just written so weird, and it's just a weird ass challenge. So I decided to do this as the non-elimination. It was originally the non-elimination, but instead of like grading it regularly and having it be a double Shantae, we're just gonna say, you all did great, because I do think Dakota playing John Burr's part, I think would have done a pretty solid job, along with everybody else who I also think did really solid jobs in this challenge. And we're just gonna say, fuck it, we're having a top two, and the rest of y'all are safe. The top two, as they were originally, would be Cheddar Gorgeous and Danny Beard. They are going to lip sync to "Some Kind of Rush" by Booty Love. And I think Danny would win this. We only got to see these two lip sync once on the season. That was in the finale to a slow, kind of like emotional song. But I think, just given what we've seen, I think that Danny Beard would probably do better in this. I am willing to give it to either of them could have won this, and I'd be okay with it. Whatever you want to say, but I decided to give the win here to Danny Beard. So we will move on to episode 9. Episode 9 is the political roast, which was weird to me because it's like it's like supposed to be politics themed, but it's a roast. I didn't understand it because it wasn't like a political debate, it was a roast, but it was supposed to be politics. It's like they wanted to do the roast, but they didn't want to just do the same thing as they did last season. So they're like, let's throw a politics spin on it. And it's like, what? That doesn't make any sense, but okay, whatever. Live your life in London. Dakota Schiffer is here this set time, and I think Dakota would do pretty good in this challenge, honestly. Dakota did like alright in the reading challenge early in the season, but we know Dakota can be a funny bitch, and I think if given the time to write and repair jokes to people, I think she would do a pretty good job. And frankly, I don't think she could have done a worse job than Black Peppa and Pixie Polite. I do think she could have maybe done worse than Cheddar, but I don't think she would have done worse than the bottom two. So I ended up placing her as high. Danny's gonna win because I don't think she'd do better than Danny, and Danny won originally. Cheddar is going to play safe here. You people might say, she should be low. With top fives, I do win high, safe, and a bottom two, so Cheddar automatically gets the safe placement. And the bottom two are going to be Black Peppa and Pixie Polite, as they were originally. They're going to lip sync to Another One Bites the Dust by Queen, and Black Peppa is going to win it, and Pixie Polite is going to be sent home. And now we are down to our final four. Almost unchanged, just swapping out Jomber's Blonde with Dakota Schiffer, which I mean, I think Dakota Schiffer was robbed on the season, kind of. So this is not something I feel like is entirely out of the realm of possibility. In the finale, we have our contestants do the kind of room mix situation where they have to create versus do different Rue songs, and I think this is a pretty decent like kind of twist on the standard format, because when we were going, I was expecting like, okay, we're going to see them do some song that Rue is going to release for this, and that is going to be it, and we're never going to hear the song again outside of this context. But no, it was different, kind of like quintessential RuPaul songs, doing like verses do, and I thought it was a pretty cool way to actually kind of continue it without it feeling as stale. Um, so I decided to do what was done originally and just make it a top two with the front runners, the people with the best track records, which were Danny Beard and Cheddar Gorgeous. I do see in the circumstance a potential where you do a top three and add in Dakota Schiffer. Because originally you had Black Peppa and Jonvers, Black Peppa who had been in the bottom four times and Jonvers who had never won a challenge. So, it kind of makes sense to not include them. But in this scenario, Dakota has 2 wins and a bottom two, so it is feasible that Dakota can win the season. So you could add in Dakota if you wanted and just eliminate Black Peppa before the lip sync, but I decided to just eliminate both of them because Dakota wouldn't have been chose anyway. Would have been chosen as the winner anyway, at least for me. So the top two are going to be Danny Beard and Cheddar Gorgeous, and they are going to be lip syncing to This Is My Life by Shirley Bassey. And I do think Danny does a better job in this. So Danny Beard is going to be the winner of the season and is going to be the first bearded queen to win RuPaul's Drag Race. And I just gotta say, I love Danny Beard so much. Danny Beard is a drag queen who I just fell in love with the instant I saw them. I am a big bearded individual myself. And whenever I get up into drag, I have my beard and I'm a bearded girl and I fucking love it. And so I really resonate with the drag that I was gonna say Banny Deard. Let's just call her Banny Deard. That Banny Deard does. And I really respect Danny so much, and I'm so happy that Danny won Drag Race, and we're in a spot in which Danny Beard can be on Drag Race and win Drag Race. That really makes my heart happy. Here are the track records of the season. For top two placements, I graded as 4.5 points in between a win, which is 5, and a high placement, which is 4. That's just the way that I choose to do it, so if you're wondering what that was worth, that is what it is worth. As you can see, Danny Beard has a 4-point PPE score, which is very rare. Congratulations to Danny on getting that. But yeah, those are all the track records and everything. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I had a great time making it. I swear that more content will be coming out soon. Life has been kind of busy lately, families in town. Thanksgiving is literally today. And I want to, give you all the content as good enough quality, at least for me. Like, I know my content isn't like the greatest quality in the world, but I want, at least want to be up to like my standard of what I feel like I can put out. And I just have not had the time to really do that recently. And I'm kind of crunching really to get this done, hopefully by Saturday. So thank you all so much for watching. And again, I swear more stuff will be uploaded soon. Um, yeah, if you liked, please like, comment, subscribe, any of the above. Um, if you want me to make more videos like this, please let me know. If you want to see certain seasons, let me know. And yeah, again, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all again next time. Take care, and as always, bye-bye. I did that in the wrong order. Oh well, bye-bye.